I woke up last night to that sound again. That slow, heavy breathing. Right outside my bedroom window. I told myself not to look. I told myself it was just the wind or some animal. But when you hear something breathe, you know it's human. And this time, it was closer. My name's Adam. And back then I thought the man behind our house was just some random homeless guy wandering the woods. Someone looking for food or shelter, someone harmless. But I was wrong. Dead wrong. Because the man living back there wasn't a stranger at all. I moved back in with my mom after my dad passed away from a brain bleed. She couldn't stay alone, and honestly, I couldn't either. Our house sits at the edge of a thick patch of woods. No neighbors behind us, just trees, fog, and a whole lot of silence. The kind of place you think is peaceful until you start hearing noises you can't explain. The first week back home felt normal enough. I woke up early, went to work, came home, ate dinner with Mom, and spent the rest of the night in my room scrolling or watching videos. Pretty normal, until I started hearing things outside late at night. The first few nights it was something small, a twig snapping, leaves shifting, stuff you can ignore. But then the footsteps started. Slow, dragging, heavy footsteps. Always around the house, always between 2 and 3 a.m. And worst of all, always pausing right under my bedroom window. Mom started acting weird at the same time. She'd cook an extra plate and leave it on the counter. She'd whisper to herself in the kitchen late at night. And she kept leaving the back door unlocked, even though she hates the dark and double-checks doors like it's a religion. One night I asked her, "Mom, why's the back door open again?" She froze for a second, then smiled this small, nervous smile. He likes the fresh air, Adam. You know that. I stared at her. Who? She shook her head. No one. But I knew she was hiding something. A few nights later, walking past the back window, I heard breathing. Not just noise. Breathing. Deep. Slow. Like someone trying to stay quiet but failing. I turned my phone flashlight on and pointed it toward the fence. Right then. A head jerked down behind it. I didn't see the face, just filthy long hair, and the top of a neck way too skinny for an adult. I froze. Couldn't speak. Couldn't breathe. Just listened to the sound of his footsteps as he backed away into the woods. That night I didn't sleep at all. The noises kept happening every night. Same time. Same slow walk around the house. Sometimes scratching, sometimes digging. And then one night, he got bolder. I heard wood splintering under my window, like someone trying to pry something loose. I peeked through the curtain and saw a hand. A thin, dirty hand with long nails, scraping at the wooden frame. I stumbled backward, almost yelled. That morning I told Mom everything, and oh, someone was under my window last night. I saw his hand. She didn't look surprised. She didn't look scared. She just looked tired. Adam, please just ignore it. Mom, what the hell do you mean ignore it? Someone is digging under my window. I know. What? She took a shaky breath, wiping tears that hadn't even fallen yet. Adam, he won't hurt you. He just needs space. Who needs space? She hesitated, eyes shaking, then whispered, Your father. I swear my whole body went cold. Mom, Dad is dead. She nodded slowly. The hospital lied. They all lied. She'd officially lost it. I wanted to argue more, but something inside me didn't want to push her. Something about The look in her eyes, the fear, the certainty, and the worst part, the footsteps I heard every night, the weight of them. They did sound like my dad's heavy walk during his last few months. I tried convincing myself I was imagining things. But then came the night I saw the man's face. It was around 3 a.m. I heard breathing under the window again. I walked to the curtain, slowly. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. I pulled the curtain back just a little, and he was standing, right there, not even a foot away. His face, inches from the glass. His skin was grayish, his cheeks sunken, his beard long and matted, his eyes black and tired. And he was grinning, a slow, stretched, crooked smile. But what made my stomach drop was what he was wearing. My dad's shirt, the same blue striped button-up he wore the day he went into the hospital. My knees almost gave out. The man lifted his hand slowly and waved. I fell backward and sprinted to my mom's room. She was sitting on the bed like she'd been waiting. "Mom! There's a man outside. He's wearing Dad's shirt. He waved at me." She looked up, tears in her eyes. "I told you, Adam. He came back. That's not Dad." She closed her eyes. "I know." And she broke down completely. The next afternoon, I went into the woods behind the house to figure out what the hell was going on. I found a hole, a deep one, like someone had been digging there for months. Next to it were bones from animals, old clothes, scraps of food, and a filthy blanket. The thing that made my legs shake, a framed photo of our family, my mom, me, and Dad, placed carefully inside a little carved-out space between rocks, like a shrine. That night, everything escalated. At 3:02 a.m., I woke up to a sound I'd never heard before. Footsteps inside the house. I grabbed my phone, opened the camera, and stepped into the hallway. The air felt heavy, wrong. I held my phone out past the corner so I could see the living room without exposing myself, and I saw him, the man, standing in our living room, bent over, sniffing the air like an animal. He lifted his head slowly, so slowly it felt unnatural, then turned and looked straight at my phone camera. His left eye was exactly like my dad's damaged one, but the right eye was just a black, empty hole. He reached toward the phone, and the screen went black. I screamed for my mom and ran into her room, but she was gone. Her closet open, a bag missing, window open. She left, or she followed him. I ran downstairs out the back door and saw her at the tree line, crying, frozen. The man was crawling toward her on all fours, like something broken, or something learning how to move again. "Mom, get away!" She turned to me, tears streaming. "He's not done with us, Adam. Not yet." And she stepped into the fog. He followed her. They both disappeared. I never saw either of them again. A week ago, I got a letter in my mailbox. No return address. Inside was just a photo. A picture of my mom standing in the woods, smiling faintly, with a tall, dark figure behind her. On the back of the picture, in shaky handwriting, it said, "We were never strangers." And maybe they weren't. Maybe the man behind our house wasn't my father. Maybe he wasn't human. Maybe he was something that fed on us, on our grief, on our history, on the cracks in our family. Maybe he was here long before we were. And maybe he's still out there, waiting. Waiting behind someone else's house. My name's Brooke, and until 3 months ago, I never believed in anything supernatural. I used to laugh at ghost videos, Reddit horror threads, all of it. But now, I can't even walk into my own apartment without checking every corner first. It started on a Thursday night, right after I got off my late shift at the diner. I was exhausted, smelling like coffee and pancakes, and all I wanted was a shower and my bed. When I reached my door, I noticed something strange right away. My welcome mat was flipped upside down. I never touched that thing. I barely even look at it, but I brushed it off. Maybe the wind pushed it. Inside, everything smelled normal. Quiet. Empty. I dropped my keys on the counter and headed straight for the shower. Halfway through, I heard a soft knock on the bathroom door. Not loud, just 2 slow taps. I froze. I live alone. I turned off the water, grabbed a towel, and listened. Nothing. Just the sound of water dripping onto the tiles. I opened the door slowly, expecting to see my cat. Except, I don't own a cat. The hallway was empty. My floor was wet from my feet, no other footprints. But something had changed. I could feel it. Like someone had walked through the apartment while I was behind that door. That night, I slept with the TV on. The next morning, I found something on my kitchen table. A key. Not mine. Old, rusty, heavy. It looked like the key to a storage unit from the 1950s or something. I swear it wasn't there the night before. I even checked my Ring camera footage. Nothing. Nobody came in. Nobody even walked past my door. Over the next week, the knocks got more frequent. Always soft. Always 2 taps. Sometimes on my bedroom door. Sometimes on the window. Sometimes right behind me when I was cooking. I tried telling my friend Megan, but she thought I was just stressed. She offered to stay the night to prove I was imagining things. I didn't want her involved, but I also didn't want to be alone anymore. That night, the knocks didn't happen. Not even once. Megan teased me the next morning and said I needed more sleep. I almost believed her until she left. The moment the door closed behind her, the knocks started again. This time faster, harder, like someone was pounding on all the walls at once. I grabbed my phone, filming, screaming for whoever it was to stop. But when I checked the footage later, the audio was nothing but silence, like the knocks weren't real. But they were. I felt them through the floor. 3 nights later, I woke up at 3:11 a.m. to the sound of someone breathing right next to my face. Hot breath, slow, deep. I turned on the light instantly. Nobody, but the smell was real, damp soil and rust. The next day, I took the mysterious key to my building manager. He looked at it for half a second before his face turned pale. He told me not to be in my apartment after dark. He told me the building used to have a basement that was sealed off 30 years ago because a tenant was found down there, dead inside a locked storage cage. Nobody ever found the key. I tried leaving that night. I swear I tried, but the door wouldn't open, not even with the bolt unlocked. It was like someone was holding it shut from the other side. The knocking began again. 2 taps. This time, right on the back of my neck. I don't remember passing out, but I woke up on the kitchen floor, and in my hand, tightly curled, was the old key. Warm, almost hot. I'm writing this from a hotel outside the city. I haven't gone back, but the key is in my bag, And every night at exactly 3:11 a.m., I hear 2 soft knocks on the door.
My name is Caleb, and I used to think the weirdest thing about my apartment building was the constant smell of burnt popcorn in the hallway. But that changed the night. My upstairs neighbor, Mr. Dorsey, started dragging furniture across the floor at 2 a.m. The guy was in his 70s, quiet, always wore the same grey sweater. The kind of neighbor who nodded politely but never talked. I barely heard him most days, so when the scraping sound woke me up out of a dead sleep, I was annoyed more than anything. I tried to ignore it, rolled over, pulled the pillow over my head, but the scraping didn't stop. It got louder, faster, like something heavy was being pushed in circles. After 10 minutes, I stomped upstairs and knocked. No answer. But the noise stopped instantly. I figured he'd gotten the message, so I went back downstairs. I was halfway into bed when the scraping started again. Only this time, it was directly above my head. Same spot, same dragging pattern. The next morning, I complained to the building manager. He gave me a strange look and said, "Mr. Dorsey moved out 2 weeks ago." What? I laughed. I thought he was kidding, but he wasn't. He unlocked the empty unit to prove it. No furniture, no bed, no curtains, just a bare room coated in dust. The floorboards were scratched in huge circles, like something heavy had been dragged over and over again in the same spot. The middle of the room was worn down to raw wood. That night, the scraping returned. I tried recording it on my phone, but when I played it back, the audio was silent. The video showed my ceiling light flickering, but no sound. I barely slept. 2 nights later, the scraping changed. It wasn't circles anymore. It was moving slowly toward my bedroom wall, inch by inch, like someone dragging themselves across the floor. At 3:28 a.m., the sound stopped, right above my bed. I held my breath, waiting. Then something tapped the ceiling. Once, twice. 3 slow taps, spaced perfectly apart. I jumped out of bed and hid in the living room until sunrise. The next morning, I went back upstairs on my own. I don't know why. Curiosity, stupidity, maybe both. The apartment was still empty, still dusty. But now, right where the floor had been scratched, there was something new. A single footprint, bare, deep, pointing toward the door. I backed away slowly, but something caught my eye. In the corner of the room, someone had carved a message into the wood paneling. I hadn't seen it before. It said, "Don't let him follow you down." That night, I didn't sleep. I sat on my couch with every light on, waiting for sunrise. I told myself I'd move out the next day. But at 2:14 a.m., I heard a sound I'll never forget. Footsteps, heavy ones, coming down the stairs from the empty apartment above. They stopped right outside my door, and then 3 slow taps